This tutorial is going to add some final polish to our car survey app. And to see why we need some polish, let's have a look at some problems. If I run the app, first of all, we can see that maybe there are some buttons here that are clickable. So I might click each of these and think, okay, I'm counting there. Yeah, lots of red cars around, lots of other cars. But it's not obvious how to see the chart that comes as a result. We have a chart here that's invisible. When we click, it shows up. But how would we know to click that? So we probably need to add some instructions to our user to make a good user interface. The next thing is that we have gone for a pie chart, but maybe a bar chart would be a better option, or maybe the choice would be even better. And also, we've got 3 red cars, but red car is coming up in a blue pie, and blue car is coming up in a red pie. So it would be helpful if we could adjust the colours that are being used automatically by this pie chart. So let's go ahead and start to make improvements. The other thing that we might need to do is some adjustments to the labels here so that they fit neatly under our buttons. So if I start off, I'm going to reset. And this box here is way too wide for the space that's available. So I'm going to shrink it down considerably. And I really want to shrink it down until it is the same width as the button which it's matching to. I'm going to do that for each of the different buttons. So we want them to be centered and about the same size as the labels for the buttons which they're representing. Around about there. Now I may need to adjust the font in order to be able to show larger sizes of numbers here. Once I go into double digits or triple digits, that might need some adjustment. Okay, so that's the first thing done. Now, what about a label then? Well, certainly it would be, maybe we can do without a label if we actually use some buttons. What we're going to do is we're going to put on a button here, and that is going to be called button pie, and the text on it is draw pie chart. And then I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to put that on the other side here, and that is going to be button bar, and that's going to say draw bar chart. And then that way we should be able to have a clear instruction to our user about what they are expected to do in order to get the app showing its results. So having done that, we need to obviously hook some code up to these things. So I'm going to go into code view. And you can see that at the moment, the chart is waiting for a click on itself in order to be able to run these events. So I'm going to swap that to on event button pie, then do all of this drawing of a pie chart. Now, one of the things that you will see here is that at the end of my block, I have a little arrow. And this arrow is showing me that I have more versions of the code than are currently being shown. So I'm going to click on that. And unfortunately, it's not particularly helpful. It's not telling me what should go into this little space here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into text mode for here, this. And you can see that I have something that is going to go into this gap here. And I need to get some help on what we can do with a chart. So we do have a help button. And we want to go to the AppLab documentation. And I need to find out how I can change a chart to use particular colors. So I can see that there's UI controls, there's canvas, there's data, there's turtle, control, math, variables, functions, and so on. So I'm really looking for something that's going to tell me how to draw a chart. And I would think it'd be something to do with data. So we've got draw chart. And we've got draw chart from records. Well, we didn't use records, so we're going to use draw chart. And you can see that it gives an ID, which would be our chart result, and then a type, which we've said is pi, and then the data, which is all the values we asked it to do, and then there's something called options, and there's another option thing called callback. So what we can see here is that one of the options is to have colors and then give it a list of colors. So that is the kind of thing that we are looking to put into our chart. Notice that normally we put things inside curly brackets as a label with a colon, and then we give it some values. So although this uses a slightly different convention here, we're going to say colors, colon, and then give it a list of the colors to use. So I'm going to come back to here. And instead of this blank here, I'm going to maybe leave just a little bit of space here. And then I'm going to say colors. Now notice colors is spelled with an American spelling. So colors, colon, and then we give it a list of colors in square brackets. And we want to have red for the red car first of all, comma, blue for the blue car, comma, maybe silver for the silver car. We might have to change that to grey if it doesn't recognize what silver is. And then black for our truck. Okay, now we've got some red marks here explaining that it's not happy. So we said, of course, that what it probably expected was something inside curly brackets. So if I put some curly brackets on here and wrap that in there, now it's happy. So the options are between curly brackets. We tell it what option we're looking at and give it a colon, and then we give a list of the options inside square brackets. And each option is separated by commas and put inside speech marks. So a lot going on there, and you might have to do some research into examples online to be able to get things the way you want them to. Let's give it a try. If I go back to show blocks, it looks as if it's happy with that. It's put them all into place. I'm now going to run my code. I'm going to click up a few times. Oh, that's gone to 10 and 11, so I do need to change my font size. If I click on draw pie chart, I now get a pie, and red is in red and blue is in blue, and my any color is in silver, and my truck is in black. So that's looking fairly good. Okay, I now want an option to draw a bar chart. So I can make things easy on myself here by going into show text, highlighting all of that there and copying it, coming down below and pasting. And then I should just be able to change that to bar. Let's see if that's going to work for us. Run my code, make some choices, and then draw bar chart. And draw bar chart has not done anything. And that's because I forgot to change button pie to button bar. So I need to go and edit my code. So I'll reset that. Easy to, instead of typing things and making spelling mistakes, just go and drop down the events and choose button bar. Button bar click will now make a bar chart. Click on run. If I draw a pie there, I'm not sure if it can do that with it's got 0, 0, 0, but let's give it some options. Draw pie chart is working. Draw bar chart is also working. Notice it didn't pick up the colors that we asked it to use before. And it's still got this key at the side. So if I go and have a look back on here, is there anything that tells me how to, it's got a legend. Can be none to hide the legend. That's exactly what we're looking for. So let's go back to our code. And if we change this to, maybe just do it in this text mode. I'm going to change colors here to legend, and then the value should be none. And let's see if that will compile okay and run. It seems to be accepting that. I'm going to reset my code, run that, and a few options. Draw pie chart is fine. Draw bar chart is still showing, so maybe that's not a legend, maybe it's calling it something else like a key. So I'm going to switch back to the help system here, have another look. So legend equals, so legend colon in our way of setting things up, okay? So it wants position colon and then none instead of right, for example. Okay, so that's probably more like what we're looking for. So back to here, I'm going to do it in text mode, and I want legend, and then inside curly brackets, position should be none, and then close that curly bracket, and it's also inside another set of curly brackets there as well. Try resetting. Few options. And there we have sorted, and we can see all the labels now. And as we have mouse over them, we can see the height of the bar as well. So we've managed to give two different versions of our chart, and we did those with a button that gives instructions to the users, which was much more user-friendly than them having to guess that they had to click on a white area of the screen to get anything to happen. This use of the code and having to go and help look things up is something you have to get used to when you're working with an application that you haven't coded all for yourself. Hopefully that is now a decent introduction to making an app that achieves something vaguely useful.